Tell me what part of the course do students like the most? Like what part of this course do they really look forward to, or maybe they don't even know it's there, and then after it happens they're like, oh my God, that was so fucking great.
I mean, I'd definitely say the sex, touch, and intimacy chapter gets people, because it's like, ooh, this is stuff we don't really talk about. What's so juicy about it?
Yeah. Well, it's juicy period, but
it's juicy period, right? It's just like talking about taboo things that people don't want to talk about. You know, patients potentially having an erection on the table. Right. Hey, how do you deal with this? You're a term 1 student and you've barely put your hands on your classmates, and we're telling you about this stuff. You know, that, hey, this could happen out in the real world. This will happen.
Oh, it will happen.
And
it will happen.
Yeah, it has happened. And, you know, these students look scared as shit because they're just kind of like, how do you deal with this? Or some people are like a lot more comfortable, like, hey, you know, yeah, this is how I could deal with it.
Well, the good thing too is we have students from like, they're like 18 years old, just turned 18, came into the program. And then we have moms that are like 50, 60 who have worked every job and have finally come to this, right? So that's another reason why this class is amazing, because you have like the whole circle of life in this class where everyone brings
the moms take no shit, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so
I'm getting there.
But the sex, touch, and intimacy class is always a good one, because everyone wants to always know like the erection, right? That's always on someone's mind. Everyone always jokes about that. Like a student's like parent or whatever colleague will always make that joke.
Yeah.
And so it kind of like addresses how to address someone who has an erection.
How does that conversation go? Do you guys let everybody weigh in how they would handle it? Do you give some, so give us some information. How does this conversation go?
So we'd like pose a hypothetical, right? So you're treating someone, they're super relaxed, they're in a supine position, and you notice, you know, maybe as you're working on the lower limb, or maybe even head, neck, shoulders, whatever, you notice that somebody has an erection. They haven't brought it, like they're not bringing it up. Do you bring it up? Do you continue to massage? What do you do in that situation? How about if, you know, they start acting awkward, or they are trying to deflect away from it by like maybe moving their body around or something. So we sort of pose like different outcomes. If they're asleep, they're asleep. If they're, you know, talking about it, what if they're trying to touch your hand when this happens? There are obviously different intentions.
We just basically give like different scenarios and be like, how would you approach this? Right. So you have the completely relaxed patient to the one who's kind of giving you some elevator eyes on the way in. You know what I mean?
Elevator
made a contact. made a you know, mentioned something, and you're kind of, you know what I mean? And then students are smart. These students will usually come up with the right answer.
Man, I wish we had these discussions. I don't remember if we did, but I don't think so. And I wish we had, like, was it brought up that this could happen? Yes.
You know, I feel bad because it really depends a lot of the times on your instructors. Like, you guys are way into this course, which is awesome.
Yeah.
When I used to teach this course, I was way into this course, but I've sat in other people teaching, and I'm like, you can tell that they just don't want to be here. They don't want to be doing it at all, and it turns out to be a dud. And it's such a valuable bloody course.
I don't feel like we had enough of these conversations. Like I said, it was definitely brought up, but I can tell you the first time it ever happened to me, I was probably a year or two into practice, and it was a young kid. He was like 21 years old, and he was so awkward and uncomfortable. And I remember I'm just like, deep breath. Okay. I mean, he didn't bring any attention to it. Yeah. And, there's maybe 10 minutes left. I just finished working and then was like, okay, see you, and like left the room. Yeah. And we didn't talk about it, but then he fucking brought it up when he was paying. I'm like, come on, dude, we were almost in the clear.
Was he apologetic? Was he like,
he was embarrassed. Okay. He said to me, you know, is that normal? Has that happened before? Okay. Like, you know, he was just asking, he was very embarrassed. Yeah. And so I tried to make him feel like not a big deal. You know, I understand you were relaxed, not a big deal. Yeah. It's fine. You know, I ignored it and continued and whatever.
See, I wouldn't even accept that fully as that he was apologetic and he was embarrassed. I would look at it from that standpoint, but I'd also look at it from another standpoint. And I would also think, are you now fishing? Are you now bringing it up?
Why are you bringing it up?
Why are you bringing this up? In other words, let's talk about my boner that I had, and was that okay with you? And you're like, oh, don't worry, it happens.
Oh, so it's a green light. Is
it a green light?
Okay.
You know, but it's a way to think about it. I mean, that's the point of all these things is to be able to see.
I was in this scenario, and I'm telling you, this dude was so embarrassed. But definitely, if somebody's talking about it, because I really thought he would just pay and leave with his tail between his legs, embarrassed, but he didn't.
Let's talk about my dick.
Yeah.
You know, and it's even though we talk about it, how does that translate into the real world? So I had a TR course when I was, a Bridge student, and it was a great course. I was in Bridge with a lot of kin students. And I don't know if you know, but kin students, I mean, coming into a massage program are very like, in, out. Like, what are the assessments I need to know? I need to graduate, blah, blah, blah. But I came back to school later in life, right? So I'm like 30 something. I'm laying back, like talking about my feelings in TR, and everyone's like, probably like, well, this girl shut up. But when I went out into the real world 6 months into my practice, I mean, I dealt with a situation where someone, I was in that situation when someone had an erection, and they were definitely like playing some kind of a mental game with me. Like, it was not it was not innocent. It was not an innocent thing. And I didn't know what to do. And I was just like sweating bullets. And it's like, you can think about all the things you talk about in a book, but I mean, what do you do in that situation?
Like we had someone on our podcast on the Unprofessional Hour, and she's an assertive person.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And she was telling us when she was doing head, neck, shoulders, some guy decides, I'm going to masturbate. I'm going to masturbate while you're massaging my shoulders. And she was like,
freeze.
She didn't know what to do. So she's like, I'm just going to keep massaging.
I don't think I could have kept massaging. Like, you can't, you can't pretend you don't see that.
I would not have kept massaging like that.
And she's like, I just don't, and I can imagine what's playing in her head. I don't know what to do. I'm alone in the clinic by myself. There's a lot, I'm just going to keep going and hope this ends pretty soon. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, now I have a mini baseball bat in my clinic room downstairs. So if anybody wants to get fresh,
I saw that on one of the American boards when someone was asking, do you conceal and carry at work? And I was like, whoa, I guess that's a thing in the States, eh?
Well, I mean, there's a whole different set of regulations there. But
I mean, Mike, to go back to your initial question, I think a lot of students, what they do enjoy about this class, some students would joke about saying it's the feelings class. So a lot of students would be like, oh, bird course, like, it's just the people who want to talk about their feelings and they just get a chance to spit it all out. But I think a lot of students really enjoy real life stories. They want to hear it from the RMT. And that was something that I wanted to bring into this course, was this RMT interview panel. So having you guys come in. We used to invite people that were like 1, 2, 3 years out, because it's like, these are fresh grads. Talk to them. Let's hit them up, put them in the hot seat, ask them whatever, like whatever goes, what happens in Vegas.
Now you invited us two old people.
I know. but then like the last one we did was we had RMTs that were like 20 years in the profession, 5, 10, like we always just vary it up. And then we wanted to ask you guys, because people know who you are and they want to hear what you guys have been through. And, you guys share that on your podcast already. But I think when I was in this program, I would have wanted to do that.
I think this is so awesome.
Yeah. And we do an RMT interview assignment. So each student, we group them up. They do have to interview an RMT, preferably 2 years out.
Yep.
And we give them 9 questions to ask them. Each question kind of pertains to each topic that we're talking about as the weeks go on. And they have to just like reflect on it, kind of discuss.
I've been interviewed so many times.
You have, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of schools do this one too, though.
Yeah, a lot of schools do the interview, because I've been interviewed so many times.
I think the panel is a cool one, like the
panel's
RMT
a good
panel,
one, though.
where we bring
it's
people.
So cool.
This is new, and this is how old is it now? Like 3 years?
I don't know.
Yeah,
do you guys have to run that by your education coordinator before you do something like that, or you guys have a green light to be like, just make the course whatever you think you need to do to it?
Well, one of the cool things about, I think, our school in general is that we do have a lot of autonomy when it comes to the stuff. Obviously with like accreditation processes and all of the the stuff that we have to present in a course, we have those outlines. But other than that, we're totally free to design the course in a way that we see fit. And right up until I think last year, Matt and I were working with an older model of the course. And, we said to each other, hey, I think that we should totally revamp this. And I think that we should get a textbook. We didn't have a textbook a few years ago.
Right.
Lots of valuable information in the course, but just nowhere to kind of source it from. And, And so we found this book. I mean, this is the one on the table. This is our centerpiece here, besides the genetically modified carrots and the hummus. But
The Ethics of Touch.
Yeah, and The Ethics of Touch. And so this is an American book. And so there's a lot of stuff in here about like healthcare practitioners in general that may or may not apply to us. But a lot of it is massage specific, body